How's it going, everybody? It's the CDH Warrior coming at you with our first episode of our February stream, Miracle Snack Shop. This game, I think, is set to chapters and...
기적의 분식집.
I can clear some settings. Text speed. We're going to slow the text speed down. I'm going to lower the background music. Not that I hate it, just... let me see what our settings are in our intro. So let's get started on this game. This is my first romance game I've played to stream. I played an Otome game a while back that was part of my stream for later this year, possible stream for later this year. I'll let you guys figure out what you think, but thank you all for joining me, and let's get started. Probably gonna need to my empty goal is a vessel of infinite potential, and I could become whatever kind of shaved ice I wanted to be. Oh, we're just thrown into this. Sounding good. Could be mixed with free, not for everyone, but maybe just right for that certain successful businessman with expensive tastes. Ooh. These are sounding like that. Expensive coffee. Okay. This sounds like it's going to be an interesting sim. It's supposed to be a mix of a dating sim and a fantasy simulation. So we'll see how this... It's called Pat. Okay. This is kind of an odd shaved ice, no matter whether it's topped with fruit, coffee, or whatever. All starts out as ice, plain and simple. Everyone around started out the same. I had no idea at the time. How could I know that I'd be regular shaved ice and the people around me would turn into all these beautiful desserts that I described before? Of course, there were a few people who were noticeably different from birth. Ooh, that looks really tasty. There were ices. There were the ices flavored with chocolate and green tea before shaving even began, separating them from the pack at an early age. Everyone knows those kinds of people. They collect awards like it's some kind of a hobby. Things are different for those kind of people, so they are so unique, they don't even factor into this kind of metaphor. Okay, like I said, I still had a dream at this point. I was determined to become shaved ice that was truly amazing. I'd just like to clarify that this is all a big metaphor. This game is great. Ooh, I think that's... Okay. Stunt military that crew and men are required to serve. Before I even realized what happened, I had become normal shaved ice topped with red bean paste. Okay. I was just like every other shaved ice, walking around with a few years of experience in the military. I had no fresh new flavors, I was just your regular old run-of-the-mill shaved ice. I couldn't believe it, but I had been rushing through life just to become your everyday man on the street at 25 years old. I started to lose my energy for life. I started to feel like old age was creeping up on my heels. Oh man, this guy is my spirit animal, hilariously enough. Even with all the signs, I couldn't accept defeat. I couldn't accept the fact that I was just regular old shaved ice. I wouldn't give up, I'd make my own new flavors. But I didn't know back then. I didn't know all that effort to change myself was just adding toppings into the old ones. That looks like almonds. This was me in my late 20s. I tried my best, but things just didn't work out. My efforts to better myself added interesting toppings here and there, but I didn't have any sense of direction. All of the random jobs I tried out did nothing to strengthen my idea of who I actually was. Life wasn't flowing in one clear direction. I'd start one thing and then quit when things weren't working out. All of these incomplete experiences just piled on the toppings. Before I realized what happened, I had become a complete mess of shaved ice and toppings. A mess of part-time jobs with no real skills. Yep, I'm familiar with that one. Messy shaved ice. Just saying that made me sad. But I didn't give up. My shaved ice dream wasn't over yet. I was determined to become an attractive shaved ice. Successful shaved ice. The more I said it, the worse it sounded. Successful? It just didn't sound that good. Just like that, I was lost wandering through life, and suddenly, an old friend from high school got in touch with me. To keep the metaphor going, a wild shaved ice appeared. I was a lost and confused little shaved ice, but standing in front of me was a sleek, dressed-up shaved ice with a splash of coffee mixed in. From one shaved ice to another, what do you think about a partnership? Okay, this metaphor has grown legs and run off on me. My friend, dressed in his custom-tailored suit, suggested we open up an online shopping site together. He said he had been studying fashion and had a line on some imported clothes. He dressed the part, so unlike my scruffy-looking shaved ice self, he looked like a snazzy shaved ice that could get things done. For some reason, I trusted him. That's how the shabby shaved ice miraculously stumbled upon his partnership with that coffee shaved ice. The outcome was obvious. I started a business with my friend. Doesn't everyone at the end know the ending of that story? Yep. And it all ended like this. Yep. I know that metaphor. Okay, what did we do to it? This is the present situation. This is an artist rendition of the 31-year-old Salo Wa Cha, who after a failed joint venture was left with a staggering amount of debt. Like a tower of blocks stacked much too high, all the toppings of my life crashed down around me. That's what happens when you let other thoughts get in the way. What a mess. That's how I ended up serving shaved ice at this snack shop. I skipped over a few parts of the story. I forgot there's an epilogue to the tragic partnership between the shabby shaved ice and the coffee shaved ice. Epilogue sounds much too grand. Let's call it the cookie topping. Wasn't that the name of that little scene in movies, the credit cookie? Anyway, I scoured the country trying to find my friend who had gone into hiding. I never found him, but I did find his parents. He'd probably fled the country, so getting the money from him would be out of the question. Instead, I told his parents about the seriousness of my current situation. Your precious son has left me with all of his debts and run off. Is there any way we can fix all this? I felt like some kind of vicious loan shark saying that. We can't come up with that kind of money right now. Out of all the bad things that happened, I had at least to be thankful he didn't just slam the door in my face. For this shaved ice, caught in a never-ending spiral that was drawing him into the abyss, there was one last ray of hope. I have a small restaurant in the neighborhood that sells snacks and desserts. Could that be of any help to you? So it's a snack shop? That's how I came to run this small restaurant with a studio on the second floor until I was able to pay off my debts at least. Right when it was signed over to me, I heard something strange from the real estate agent. Someone died in the room upstairs. It's haunted. The building has so many suspicious rumors floating around about it that I couldn't sell the property or find anyone who was willing to rent it. Having all that sprung on me at the last second made me feel a bit misled, but who was I to complain? At least I'd found a way out. In the course of one eventful morning, I had become the owner of a little snack shop. I wanted to change the sign over the door and the menus, but I didn't have the cash to change either. Instead, I just opened it up as it was. The place was called Miracle Snack Shop. They normally sold rice cakes served in a spicy sauce. I'm not going to try and butcher the Korean word there. And a variety of fried food like tempura. Since it was summer, they added shaved ice, known as bingsu. I actually know that one. To their menu. Since all the equipment was there and ready, I decided to try my hand at making my own shaved ice. After all, I needed the practice. I tried my best, but this was all I could manage. Ha ha! I got rid of my failed shaved ice experiment. I looked around the place and was greeted by an empty store. Not a customer in sight. When I took over the store, I heard that business wasn't great. I hadn't expected that to mean there were no customers at all. Time flies when you're having fun. There was actually a bigger issue than not having any customers. Maybe it wasn't bigger when you actually got down to it. There weren't many bigger problems than having customers, were there? Come to think of it, there were two things. The two things weren't really comparable. My mind went back to the strange thing that real estate agent had said. This place was apparently haunted. No details came after that claim. There were just rumors. I wasn't really a superstitious person, but it never felt good to hear that about a place you were supposed to inhabit. The rumors just nagged at you from the back of your mind. Maybe the rumors were what were keeping the customers away as well. Still, I didn't give it much serious thought. It wasn't like I was suddenly being plagued with nightmares or anything. Rumors were just that, rumors. That was what I thought, before that thing appeared upstairs. Oh, are we gonna meet our... The Attic's Secret. Advance the story by selecting a scene in the Actions tab. Actions allow you to improve your relationship with characters and unlock new recipes. Some actions cost money. Okay. Phew, I'm exhausted. I hadn't done that much, but I felt so tired. Was this the plight of all business owners? I hadn't worked that hard, but at the end of the day, the exhaustion all flooded in at once. If I were swarmed with customers and unable to get a second's rest, would that give me back some of my energy? How could I know when it had never happened? I walked to the corner of my little studio, and I threw open the curtains there. Okay. As I did, I was able to see the portal shimmering there. Oh boy. This portal had been a source of all my worries these days. A month ago, I discovered this mysterious portal in the corner of my attic living space. It's definitely not just my mind playing tricks on me. It hadn't moved an inch in the past month. I knew what it was. I'd seen plenty of portals in video games and movies. A magical door that connects two distinct places. The problem was, I couldn't see through the portal to see where it led. All I could see was the swirling vortex. I had no clue where it went. If I were 10 years younger, I would have just jumped in without a second thought. But the years had made me more cautious and concerned for my own safety. I couldn't just throw myself into the vortex without knowing what dangers lie ahead. And I'd be in serious trouble if I couldn't come back. Since I couldn't figure out where the portal would lead, I just let it hang where it was for a whole month. My friends would get a kick out of this if they were to hear about it. If a portal appears inside your house, shouldn't you at least see where it leads? Of course it's going to lead to some fantasy world. That's common sense, ain't it? Actually, being confronted with the situation was a completely different story. What if the portal were to send me back to the Jurassic or something? Maybe a dinosaur's gaping mouth was waiting for me on the other end. If I had absolutely nothing to lose on this end, I'd jump in without a second thought, but I was too much of a coward to risk the little I had. The portal itself could even be dangerous. I didn't know where it led, if it was safe, or if I could get back. Until I could confirm those things, it wasn't safe to act rashly or even touch the thing. I didn't even know if the thing was stable. What if passing through created an explosion and pieces of the snack shop were sent flying into the street? In an act of desperation, I taped my phone to the edge of a small rod and stuck it through the portal. I figured I could set the phone's camera on a timer to snap a picture. I was rather excited to see what was on the other side. But a black screen was all I got. I couldn't tell if the phone malfunctioned or if only darkness lay on the other side of the portal. Another day wasted as I stared at the portal and wondered what was on the other side. It would be so much better if someone just jumped out and simply told me, "It's safe to go through, come on in." Then couldn't it just as easily be a monster that were to jump out? Oh, our main heroine. A strangely dressed woman popped out of the portal. As I was staring at the portal, she suddenly appeared, running straight in my direction. Running right into my arms. But I dodged out of the way right before she collided with me. Ooh, almost got me. I would have been run over by a strange woman. Good thing I was paying attention. Huh? Was it just me? It felt hot in that attic, like heat was suddenly radiating off of something or someone. Miss, are you okay? The strange woman stared at me with fear in her eyes. But her outfit wasn't extravagant. She looked like she had just come from some frozen tundra. Could that mean that this portal led to someplace like Russia or Siberia? I stared at the mysterious lady who suddenly appeared from the portal. She stared at me, then her lips parted as she began to speak. The first two words to come out of her mouth were, "Are you going to ask what year it is?" Oh, never mind. I thought you might be a time traveler or something. I was so excited that I had interrupted her. Way to go, me! I closed my mouth and waited for her to try again. She opened her mouth to speak again. I wasn't aware of how intently I was waiting for her to speak, but I could feel my Adam's apple travel up and down as I gulped in anticipation. Right when I saw her, I had this feeling in my gut that our meeting was destined by fate. This was a crucial moment. Her first words would be engraved in my brain for the rest of my natural life. With all the drama of the situation hanging over my head, the first words out of her mouth were,
Voices?
"Kisses? Okay." I had no idea what she said. "Do you speak Korean?"
Good.
Wait. "Do you speak English?"
Anglicus?
Anglicus? Okay. She definitely wasn't Korean. I couldn't tell what language she was speaking. All I knew is that I couldn't understand a single word she was saying. I tried a few other questions after that, but the only replies I got all started with something that sounded like "coo" to me. She must have realized that I didn't understand her because she stopped speaking altogether. It sounded like she was cooing like a pigeon. Who?
Go.
So?
Kill.
She's repeating words. She glared at me again. Why? What had I said? I was just trying to copy what she had been saying. I heard her stomach growling. Are you hungry? The embarrassment. I've been there. She didn't have to say anything for me to understand. She was rather embarrassed. The expressions on these characters is amazing. I thought about how to communicate the question and tried to act out eating with my hands. She must have understood my game of charades because she replied with a slight nod. Dating sims are always interesting to me. What could I make for her? I'd already shut off all of the machines and put them away, so there wasn't a lot that I could make for her. The fastest thing I could whip up was, I could easily put together a bowl of shaved ice. I took out the ice shaving machine, filled it with ice cubes, and made my usual shaved ice with red bean paste. When she saw what I was making, she didn't look very happy.
Glitches?
That is almost Russian. Russian? Ice, I'm assuming.
Glitches.
Why did she have something against ice? I figured she must not have shaved ice wherever she came from. Don't be like that, just try it. It's not like I poisoned it. Oh, that's how you're gonna interact with her? Right, what's the use of explaining? Is it like she understood a single word I was saying anyway? Then suddenly she seemed shocked. What had she seen that had scared her so badly? I tried to see what she was looking at. She Nothing but my empty restaurant. She was shocked. Was she shocked at how empty the place was? She flailed her arms through the air. I didn't notice anything there, but she was waving her arms as if something was hovering in front of her. Looked like she was swiping on some giant tablet. Was she seeing things? Or could it be the ghost I had been warned about? Okay, that was my stomach. Ice? Huh? Did you just say ice? Right, ice. She frowned, her eyes moving between me and the space between us. Then she began waving her arms boisterously through the air again. It looked like someone swiping between screens. I couldn't see anything, but from the way she was moving, it definitely seemed like there was something there. Was this the feeling people got when they watched others play VR games? I had no idea what she was doing, but whatever it was helping her understand a little bit of what I was saying. Should I give it another go? I pointed at shaved ice and said, Shaved ice. Shaved ice. Shaved ice. Now we're talking in Spanish? Shaved ice. Right, shaved ice with red beans. Shaved ice, red beans. Oh, red beans are, well, they go on top of the shaved ice. Red beans are, some call them Adsuki beans. Like that would help at all. It's a bean. It's sweet and red. She must have been having a hard time with sentences, so I decided to communicate with just a few words. Red bean. That does not sound Korean, that sounds European? Red bean, okay. Right, red bean. The red beans and shaved ice come together to create shaved ice with red bean paste. Okay, that's... Please speak my language. Red bean shaved ice. I guess you can't understand me. She stared at the space between us again. I couldn't be sure, but there must have been some invisible translation device hovering in the space between us. My name is Siloa Cha? If it was a translation device, it was having trouble with sentences. Name? Nomine. Okay. Siloa-cha. Dystoria. Not tricky. Sol-wa-cha. Call me Sol-wa.
Sora?
Oh, Sora! And ironically, that's a common Japanese name. Sol-wa. Okay. What's your name? What can I call you? This again, I had to remember to keep it to words, simple words. Your name?
Regina Salis.
Regina Salis. Then, can I call you Regina? Your name, Regina?
Regina Yawan.
Queen Regina. Oh!
Regina Salis.
Regina Salis.
Sogum Yawan.
Queen Salt. It's just lost now. She was a queen? I had no idea. How did she end up coming to such a normal place like, oh yeah, she came through the portal! Then I should call you Queen Salt. She nodded. Queen Salt, I've never heard a title like that in my life. But there was some country of salt. Was there some country of salt on the other side of the world that I'd never heard about? Okay then. Welcome to Miracle Snack Shop, Queen Salt. Is that? And that's chapter 1. I think we'll kind of pause here. Oh. We're going to try out the day 1. Okay. Back to the story. Okay. Brought it into her mouth with a grimace. She gathered up the courage to take a bite and... Places? She dropped the spoon at the last second. We've got her flustered somehow. If someone had been watching, they would have thought I was forcing her to eat something awful. There was no other choice, though. I scooped out another spoonful, careful with some shaved ice. Ice? Yeah, I got it. For some reason, the idea of eating ice was making her angry. I snuck the spoonful of shaved ice closer and closer. And right when her anger was at its highest, shoved the spoon in her mouth. Oh, this scene. Right when I stuck the spoon in her mouth, it was like she went into complete shock. Then she just stopped. Yep, I could guess what thoughts were going through her mind. How can ice possibly taste like this? That's exactly what she was thinking. Might I react the same way if I went into another country and somebody stuck a spoonful of something weird in my mouth? It probably looked pretty strange to her. It sure did taste good. That must have been why she was reacting like this. Still, she had a look of shock on her face, but her tongue was rolling the ice back and forth in her mouth to melt it. Good, huh? The queen looked down at the bowl of shaved ice and then back up at me. She pointed at the dessert in front of her.
Order?
Ice? Yep, that's ice.
Order.
She ate another bite, trying to figure out the mystery behind the bizarre dessert. That bite was completely voluntary. Yes, success!
Delectamente.
Delectamente. I'm assuming delectable. That must have meant delicious. It would be quite embarrassing if it meant something else, though. She took another bite. Her face slowly started to soften up. I was just glad she didn't think I was poisoning her anymore. The queen looked at her invisible translator again, then looked at me and said,
Mashiso.
Delicious. Wow. Seeing the thankful expression on her face was quite touching. Queen Salt began eating little bites here and there, careful not to disturb the overall presentation. I felt so proud to have a queen eat my own creation with such elegance and grace. I never felt like this when kids came in to eat. How strange. After the bowl was completely emptied out, I listened as she properly introduced herself. Before she tried to communicate, though, she went into a corner and felt the foreign words roll off her tongue. She must have wanted to test her pronunciation of the translator before speaking the words to me. Did it actually exist, this invisible translator?
음식 대접 고맙다.
Thanks, give food. Haha, it's nothing. I can give you as much shaved ice as you want. I had to throw away the leftover product at the end of the day anyway. Ice? Queen Salt stood there quietly for a second before continuing her thought. At first I thought she was figuring out what she wanted to say, but then the more I watched her, the more it seemed like she was waiting on whatever translator she had in front of her. She had to put whatever I said through her translator and translate whatever she wanted to say before speaking. Of course, it would take some time. But she stopped after one word. Ice. What about ice?
왜 얼음
Why eat
먹지?
ice? I'm not sure what you mean. It's just something we eat. I guess you don't have shaved ice where you're from.
얼음 벽을
Ice
만들 때
used
쓴다.
to make wall.
먹는 것 아니다.
No, eat. Bricks were made out of ice in her world. Then I fed bricks to Queen Salt. That's embarrassing. If you think of it like that, it must have been quite the culture shock. If her country used ice as bricks, was she from the North Pole? Guessing from her outfit, the chances for coming from a cold climate were pretty high. We eat ice here. Just relax. We don't use ice for bricks. It's just food.
이상하다.
Strange. What's
너의
strange?
말 조금씩
Words
들린다.
hear little. Then you couldn't hear what I was saying before. No way, did she just have a hearing problem?
그런 뜻 아니다.
That meaning, not right.
너의 말이
The words slowly, I understand.
이해된다. 여기에
Here,
안 보이나?
no see? Queen Salt gestured to the air in front of her.
이렇게 쓰여 있다.
Like this, it is written.
한국어
Understanding, level 2. And it was level 1 when we first met. She nodded. It just changed to level 2? She nodded again. So that means you're slowly learning my language.
그대 이것이
Can't see
보이나?
this. No, I don't see anything. She still seemed confused. Queen Salt's glance kept moving between me and some invisible status window. Level 2 understanding. It was like a game. Was it like an experience bar in an RPG game? Sigh. Her sigh seemed to say, no good worrying about it.
귀공은 누군가?
One's title. Maybe it was because she just hit the next level, but the Queen was starting to sound a bit more like royalty. I already told her my name. So was she asking for my job title? CEO.
CEO?
I own this restaurant.
귀공은 요리사?
One is a chef. Well, I make the food, so I guess that makes me the chef.
그렇군.
I understand.
해괴한 요리 고맙다.
Peculiar dish. Queen is grateful. I couldn't tell if that was an insult or a compliment. Queen Salt gazed at the air in front of her eyes yet again.
그런데
But one
귀공은 이게 안
can't
보이나?
see this? No, whatever it is, invisible translator or status bar, I don't see anything, Your Grace.
그렇다면
Then
이것이
this,
왜 생겼는지도
why appear? I can't really see it, so I definitely have no idea why it's there for you.
이해했다.
Oh, she's actually fully speaking Korean now. She sounds like she's speaking a mixture of Korean and Russian.
귀공의 주인은 어디 있나?
One's owner, where? Excuse me?
귀공의 주인.
One's owner. What? Queen Salt turned to glare at the invisible translator. She seemed to be getting frustrated, thinking that I didn't understand what she wanted to say. But I understood her perfectly. She was asking where my owner was, wasn't she? I don't have an owner.
사망했나?
Dead? Wow! No, it's because in this day and age, wait, could it be? Could that be it? She came from a different culture. Are you looking for some nobleman or king?
비슷하다.
Similar.
성주는 어디 있나?
Where is Lord of Castle?
나를
Okay.
성주에게 인도하라.
Lead the way to Lord of Castle. Oh, before we get to Lords, there are no castles here. She'd probably die of shock if she took a step outside. The Lord of the Castle. She really did sound like a character from some fantasy world. Could that actually be the case? Anyway, I'm the owner of this place. Only me, there's no one above me or beneath me.
이해하기
Hard
어렵다.
hard to understand. Well, there are no slaves, no peasants, and no nobility in this country. There is that expression about those born with silver spoons, though. That was a confusing explanation. Dream? I'm not a dream. Could this really be that shocking? Was it really so bad that she just wanted to deny it was real? Queen Salt walked over to the door. She opened the door all the way and stared at the world outside. The world on the other side. I wouldn't, you probably aren't ready to see all that. Queen Salt took it all in, looking more and more surprised with every passing second. I couldn't tell which part was most surprising to her. She closed the door again. She stood there with her mouth hanging open, completely dumbfounded. Then, very quietly, she said something to herself. I couldn't understand what she said, but it was very quiet and sounded like some phrase in her own language. She lifted her head to look straight back at me. She looked me right in the eye. She said something, and it sounded like she was on the verge of tears.
밖이
Outside, why so warm?
따뜻한가?
I looked at her, listening to the sadness in her voice. Maybe what truly shocked her was not the sights of this foreign city, but the temperature. This queen, where in the world was she from? Okay. So we're gonna stop here. Okay. Let's send her back to the attic. That'll be the end of day 1. After finishing her dessert and our conversation, she decided to go back upstairs. Queen Salt was glaring intensely at the portal she had come through earlier. She said her name was Queen Salt. Did that mean that a Salt Kingdom lay on the other side of that portal? Goodbye then. Weren't you headed back to your world? I enjoy tasting frozen treats in the world. Okay. She's not too thrilled with that comment.
여왕은 돌아가지 않는다.
Queen Salt will not go back. Huh?
여왕은 돌아가지
Salt has
않기로
decided
결정했다.
not to return. Our conversation went on. As our conversation went on, the translator seemed to be working faster. At first, the Queen had to study the invisible translation window in front of her every time you spoke. As time passed, she began to speak quickly as if she could understand the words as they were spoken. She definitely hadn't understood a single word in the beginning, but it was amazing how fast she had adapted. Maybe that's what she had meant by strange. She was actually starting to hear me. I finally began to understand what she had meant downstairs. It was as if she had cast some translation spell. She was beginning to understand me without the help of whatever translation window she had in front of her. She did check the invisible space between us every once in a while to make sure she'd understood everything correctly. But what was that a second ago? She said she wasn't going back. Why not?
왜요?
Why not? I mean, I'm curious what reason you have for not returning. Oh, is this somebody...
여왕은 질문받는 사람이 아니다.
Queen Salt does not answer questions. Okay. Because she was royalty? Why did she keep referring to herself in the third person? Was that a translation error? Why do you keep referring to yourself as Queen Salt? You could just say I, right? Is your translator broken?
여왕은
Queen
그런
Salt does
호칭을
not use
쓰지
such
않는다.
words.
그런 호칭은 평민이나 쓰는 것이다.
Ah, okay.
아니면 역시 여왕이란 단어가 어색한가? 대체어로 짐이나 과인이란 단어를 추천해주긴 하는데 그게 더 맞는 표현인가?
Okay. We're too formal. Oh. Couldn't you just try saying I once? All this queen and one stuff is a bit uncomfortable.
나?
I? Yeah. Even presidents and prime ministers refer to themselves as I and me. Lady and madam. Those words make me feel like I'm in a middle-aged woman's dungeon.
여왕은 이해하기
Queen Salt
어렵다.
finds this difficult to understand. How about this? We're the queen of the land. Queen of the land you come from, but you're not a queen here, right? You don't rule here. So why don't you loosen up a bit?
뭐?
Oh, we made her mad. Suddenly her eyes grew cold and narrow. The hostility of her gaze surprised me. Had I said something wrong? Had the translator made some grave error?
귀공도
One
나를
does
왕으로
not
인정하지 않는
acknowledge the
것인가?
queen as a ruler. What? Oh, that's not what I meant. Perhaps she was more stuck in her ways than I thought. I figured she'd start yelling at me, but then tears began to well up in her eyes. She wasn't angry about what I'd said?
그런가?
Is that so?
귀공의 눈에도
In one's eyes, it appears that
내게
Queen Salt has
왕의
none of the
자질이
qualities of a true ruler.
생전 처음 만난 귀공이 그렇게 말한단 말인가?
One who has laid eyes upon a queen believes her not worthy of the title. It's not like that. It was horrible to see her deflate so quickly. So, you've decided not to go back.
잘 모르겠다.
The path forward is unclear. Then what are you going to do?
모른다.
Queen Salt does not know. I've never heard declare their lack of direction with such confidence. I didn't know how to respond.
지금까지는
Until now.
여왕이 이렇게
If
말하면
Queen Salt were to speak
가신들이
this way,
의견을
ministers
말해주었다.
would come forward to let their opinions be known.
그러면
Queen Salt
여왕은 그
would
이야기를
hold
모두
their
경청하는
words to declare,
결정을 해주기만
declare
하면
the correct
됐다.
path.
그런데 여기선 여왕에게 의견을 말해줄 가신이 아무도 없구나.
But here there are no ministers and thus no opinions for Queen Salt to consider. What happened on your side of the portal?
여왕은 말하고
Queen Salt
싶지
does
않다.
not wish to speak of it. Oh, what bad thing did we deal with? What a proud woman. This sort of reaction, though, was she kicked out or something? I couldn't know for sure, but had a strong feeling that something bad had happened on her side.
생각이 바뀌었다.
Queen Salt has had a change of heart,
이만 돌아가야겠다.
and shall return.
여왕이 이곳에 오래 머물러봤자 좋은 일이 없겠구나.
Okay. Queen Salt sees no good coming from a prolonged stay here.
그대에게도 많은 패를
Queen Salt
끼쳤다.
has caused you a great deal of trouble.
여왕답지 않은 모습을 보였어.
These actions are not befitting of the Queen. Yep. The Queen walked towards the portal.
이 포탈은 그대가 열었는가?
Did one open this portal? No, I'm just as curious as you are where this thing came from.
이 포탈은 내 침실의 옷장으로 연결되어 있다.
This closet connects to a portal in the royal bedchamber. Okay! Really?
그러니 함부로 들어오지 마라.
So do not dare
내
cross the
침실로 무단
threshold.
침입하면
The cards would not
경비가
take
가만히 두지 않을 거야.
trespassing into the royal bedchamber. Got it.
뭐 그래도
Still, such a strange
그대가
dish.
만든 이상한 얼음 요리는 꽤 맛있었다. 그것만은 칭찬해주마.
Okay. Finally saw that.
혹시 그대가 불편하지 않다면 다음에 또 방문해도 되겠나?
Could not cause any further trouble with one be opposed to Queen Salt visiting once more. Oh well, I don't mind. If you can give me a little warning first. If you're planning on visiting often, it would be better to pick a day for your visits.
일정이라 일주일에 한 번이면 괜찮은가? 일요일?
An arrangement then would be once a week be appropriate on Sundays? Yeah, Sundays would be fine, I guess.
아, 다음 주 일요일 오후쯤에 다시 찾아오마. 그때도 얼음 요리를 준비해주면 좋겠구나.
Sunday afternoon, and would kindly request another frozen treat at that time. Understood, the Queen Salt. It seems like we're able to communicate quite smoothly now.
방금
Perhaps.
한국어 레벨이 3으로 올랐다.
My understanding has indeed gone up to the 3rd level. I guessed as much.
그럼
Then
여왕은
Queen
이만
Salt shall
가보겠다.
take leave of this world.
그대 앞길에 여왕의 축복이 있기를.
May the blessings of Queen Salt shine down upon this shop. Queen Salt said those final words and walked back through the portal. Her exit was so natural that it hardly seemed to fit with reality. I almost wanted to follow her through to check if she was actually gone. But she warned me about going through the portal whenever I pleased. Queen Salt, what a peculiar person. Quite beautiful, too. Kinda reminds me of Mary Jane Strauss from Fairy Tale, just the appearance. Honestly, if some stranger had walked off the street and started spouting off all those lines, I wouldn't have believed a word of it. I'd have thought the person was out of their mind or method acting. The Queen Salt had clearly come through that portal. She could have told me any number of stories about the magical kingdom on the other side, and I would have eaten up every word. She said she'd be back next week. Until fate brought her through that portal, this place was just an ordinary snack shop. But for some reason, I had a feeling things were about to get a lot more entertaining. I believe that pretty much ends Chapter 1. Oh. Okay. Actions. Okay, so we've met. It's day 8 and we've met Queen Salt. Now we're just gonna wait until we meet our next mysterious character. So, for the CDH Warrior, I was on Monday with part 2 of Miracle Snack Shop with our next day of the shop. I stream for an organization called CDH Stars and Angels, a 501c3 nonprofit that helps children with congenital diaphragmatic. If you could, please go check out our website at cdhstarsandangels.org or our Facebook page at CDH Stars and Angels. We will start day 7. Since we're now end of week 1, day 7. Day 8. We're at the end of week 1 and day 8. We'll probably meet our second character next episode. Stay tuned for that. For the CDH Warrior on your Monday. And I will see you next time. I stream for an organization called CDH Stars and Angels, or a 501c3 nonprofit that helps children with congenital diaphragmatic hernia. If you could, please go check out our website at cdhstarsandangels.org or our Facebook page at CDH Stars and Angels. So, for the CDH Warrior, for Monday, and I'll see you next week. Or next time with Queen Salt's second visit. Have a great day.